Good day, everyone. Today we begin a new journey, one that's often overlooked in the world of personal growth, but is one of the most powerful habits you can develop: celebrating small wins. We live in a culture that idolizes the big moments: graduations, promotions, trophies, and million-dollar deals. But what truly fuels long-term success and lasting happiness? It's not the giant leaps, it's the little steps, the quiet victories, and the moments of progress that no one else sees. Let's dig deep into why small wins are not small at all. 1. The psychology of small wins. There's a powerful truth in human behavior: success creates motivation. When we achieve something, no matter how minor, our brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical. It gives us a boost. We feel proud, energized, hopeful, and most importantly, we want to do it again. Harvard researchers call this the progress principle. They found that making consistent progress in meaningful work is the most powerful motivator. Not money, not fear, not competition, just simple forward movement. Each small win builds confidence, increases momentum, makes your goal feel achievable. So if you're waiting to feel proud only after the big win, you're missing out on the fuel that gets you there. 2. Small wins build big habits. Think of the things you're trying to build: fitness, focus, financial freedom, or confidence. They don't come from one giant action. They come from repetition. One healthy meal doesn't make you fit, but hundreds do. One productive morning doesn't change your life, but string together 50 of them, and you're a different person. Each time you complete a small task, whether it's finishing a workout, writing one page, or resisting a bad habit, you've scored a small win. When you recognize that win, you strengthen the behavior. That's how habits form, not just through action, but through acknowledgement. 3. Why we often ignore small wins. Now, here's the problem. Most people don't celebrate the little things. Why? They think it's not enough. They say, "I'll be happy when." They compare their small wins to someone else's big achievements. This mindset is dangerous because when you don't honor your progress, you lose motivation. You start believing that if you're not winning big, you're not winning at all. But imagine if a baby took her first steps and we said, "That's nothing, you didn't run yet." Absurd, right? Yet that's how we treat ourselves. Let's stop that today. 4. Real-life example: the power of tiny progress. Meet Amina. She wanted to become a public speaker. At first, she could barely speak up in meetings. Instead of aiming to give a TED Talk right away, she set a tiny goal: speak once per meeting. That was her small win. She tracked it. She celebrated it. And after a few months, she gave her first small presentation, then a bigger one. Now, she trains other speakers. Would she have made it without celebrating the first win? Probably not. That first moment of progress gave her the courage to keep going. 5. The chain reaction of recognition. Here's the secret. What gets celebrated gets repeated. Each time you celebrate, even in a small way, you tell your brain, "Yes, that's what I want more of." And guess what? Your brain listens. So whether it's giving yourself a smile, checking a box, telling a friend, or writing it in a journal, mark the win. It trains your mind to chase progress, not perfection. Celebrating small wins isn't about pretending tiny things are huge. It's about respecting the journey. It's about recognizing that every big dream is made of small steps, and each step deserves your attention. If you want to succeed, don't wait for the finish line to feel proud. Feel proud now. Right here, because you're moving forward, and that's a win. How to recognize and track the progress you're making. We often underestimate just how far we've come because we're too focused on how far we still have to go. Today, let's shift that focus. Instead of only looking ahead, we'll learn how to pause, notice, and appreciate the small wins happening right now in your journey. Those small wins? They're powerful, but they can also be easy to miss, unless you train yourself to see them. What really counts as progress? Progress isn't always about huge milestones or visible results. It can be waking up without hitting snooze, drinking water instead of soda, reading one page of a book, saying no to a distraction, showing up for practice, even if you didn't feel like it. Each of these actions might seem small in the moment, but together they compound. They move you closer to your goal and strengthen your discipline muscle. Every positive choice is a signal to your brain. I'm becoming the person I want to be. Why we miss the wins that matter most. Here's the problem. Most people don't feel motivated unless they see massive change. That's dangerous because real transformation happens quietly and gradually. Why do we overlook our progress? We compare ourselves to people further ahead. We don't measure the small steps. We believe success has to feel dramatic to be real. We wait for applause before we celebrate ourselves. This mindset steals your joy, and over time, it can drain your motivation completely. Start noticing what's working. If you want to stay on track, you need a way to capture your wins, big and small. Here's how. Keep a daily win log. Every evening, write down at least 3 things you did well. They don't need to be perfect or impressive. They just need to show progress. Some days it might be, I made a healthy lunch. I stayed calm during stress. I didn't give up after one mistake. This practice trains your brain to see momentum, not just mistakes. Use visual tools to track habits. You can put a check mark on a calendar each day you show up. Use a habit tracking app to log behaviors. Keep a visual streak, like Jerry Seinfeld's Don't Break the Chain method. Over time, those marks become proof that you're building consistency, and that consistency builds identity. Share your progress. Out loud. Tell someone when you've made a positive change. Don't worry about seeming boastful. When you speak your growth, you own it, and you might just inspire someone else to do the same. Small wins in everyday life. Progress doesn't just happen in business, fitness, or creative goals. You can apply this mindset to mental health. I asked for help today. Parenting. I stayed patient. Studying. I reviewed one topic I used to avoid. Self-care. I rested without guilt. Every act that supports your long-term growth is worth acknowledging. One real-life story. Take Asha, for example. She was overwhelmed by her goal to run a marathon, so she focused only on what she could do that day, even if it was just tying her shoes and walking for 5 minutes. She tracked it. She celebrated it. And slowly, her walks became runs. Her 5 minutes turned into 10. After 6 months, she crossed the finish line, not because of one massive effort, but because she showed up every day and honored each tiny step. You don't need permission to celebrate yourself. You don't need massive results to feel proud. And you don't need to wait until the end of the race to recognize you're already winning. What you pay attention to grows. So start paying attention to your progress. The more you notice it, the more of it you'll create. Next, let's explore how those small wins begin to build something much bigger than motivation. They build unstoppable momentum, turning small wins into lasting momentum. So far, we've talked about why small wins matter and how to recognize them. Now, let's dive into the real magic, how those tiny victories become the fuel that drives long-term success. The truth is, small wins are not just moments to feel good, they're building blocks. And when you stack them up day after day, they create momentum. That momentum changes your identity, your habits, and eventually your life. Why momentum beats motivation. Motivation can be powerful, but it's unpredictable. Some days you're fired up, other days you're not. If you rely on motivation alone, you'll move in short bursts and burn out quickly. Momentum, however, is different. It builds with action. It grows stronger the more you move. It doesn't care how you feel. It just builds quietly through your repeated efforts. Think of it like pushing a heavy wheel. At first, it's hard to move, but once you get it going, it becomes easier to keep it spinning. That's momentum. How small wins create a new identity. Every time you follow through on a small goal, you send yourself a powerful message. I'm the kind of person who keeps going. I show up even when I don't feel like it. I'm building something important. Over time, these messages shape how you see yourself. You go from trying to be disciplined to becoming disciplined, from wanting to succeed to believing you can. And once your identity shifts, success becomes your default, not your struggle. Building a win streak habit. Want to build momentum that lasts? Here's a system to help you. 1. Start ridiculously small. Don't aim for perfect, aim for possible. Instead of saying, I'll work out for an hour, say, I'll do 5 push-ups. Instead of I'll write 3 chapters, say, I'll write for 5 minutes. Why? Because starting is the hardest part. Once you start, you often go further than you planned. 2. Track your streak. Make your progress visible, a calendar, a checklist, a journal. When you see the streak building, you'll want to protect it. 3. Don't break the chain. If you miss a day, it's okay, but never miss 2 in a row. 1 break is a pause. 2 breaks can become a pattern. 4. Reward yourself. Not with junk or distractions, but with something that acknowledges your effort. A kind word, a short break, a smile. These emotional rewards reinforce your behavior and make it more likely you'll keep going. Momentum turns goals into habits. Once a behavior becomes part of your routine, you don't need willpower to do it anymore. It becomes automatic. That's when real transformation begins. You don't need to get motivated to brush your teeth because it's a habit. Imagine if reading, working out, writing, or budgeting felt the same. Momentum gets you there. And small wins are the engine that drives that momentum. Real-life example. Let's talk about someone like Amir. He wanted to start a YouTube channel, but felt paralyzed by perfection. So, he set a goal. Record 10 seconds of practice video each day. That's it. It felt silly at first, but it got him moving. Within 2 weeks, he was recording full clips. Within 2 months, he published his first video. Now he's consistent, and it all started with the tiniest step. That's the power of momentum. It's not glamorous, but it works. Final takeaway. Small wins are more than just feel-good moments. They are the seeds of progress planted daily. When nurtured, they create habits. Habits create identity, and identity shapes destiny. Don't chase motivation. Build momentum. Don't wait to feel ready. Take the next small step, and when you do, watch how your small wins turn into unstoppable success. You're not just making progress. You're becoming the kind of person who always makes progress, and that's the real win. In the pursuit of big goals, it's easy to overlook the small victories along the way. But those little wins, each effort, each step, each moment of progress, are what carry you forward. They build your confidence, create momentum, and shape the habits that lead to lasting success. So, don't wait to celebrate only when you reach the finish line. Celebrate the journey. Because the path to greatness isn't made of giant leaps. It's made of small, consistent steps, taken every single day. Keep going. Your small wins are building something extraordinary.